All right. So yeah, no, with the habit group, please start tracking yourselves at this point. And I'm sorry, I'm behind on that, and I will pick them up today, and then we can communicate about it as well. And we're gonna keep doing that for a couple more weeks, I believe, and then after that we're good with that, and then we'll see what that does. Hopefully, there's some results. It's the ones of you who are tracking already. Have you felt any results yet, or any complications like you got to pee all the time if you drink water or stuff like that?
I found that I had to adjust like my morning habits, so just so that I can make space for the new routine. So
Uh
it's
huh.
been kind of a learning curve, but
Yeah,
good
yeah.
reflection.
Are you doing the walking, or what are you doing?
Exercising for 30 minutes,
Okay.
which is good for me. So I have lupus, and so it's been just kind of what I've been needing to do for my body anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And just noticing a lot of just already increase in my mobility, and even in like the way that I'm thinking, approaching like the exercise has been like a big, like more positive.
Oh, good, good, good. Yeah, one of the things that is, I think, that helps with doing it, even though I'm behind, with sort of in a group conscience, it changes the energy a little bit. It gives us a little extra oomph to do it. And then I think the other thing that we often don't do well when we are doing these things on our own, or at least I do, I tend to want to do too much, and then burn myself out. And so that measure is also one that I think is important. What was your experience? Why do you feel like it's a little more joyful?
I found a creator on YouTube who just has a really calming energy, and I like the way that her style of teaching, and she really talks about mobility and like dynamic sort of exercises and like strengthening the
Good.
body.
Hmm.
And I just kind of like her like holistic approach to it, and yeah, it's been, and I think that that's kind of the element of like taking the stress off of like learning something new is have it being guided. And I've been doing the same like video to
Hmm.
kind of like just get used to the movement, so I don't feel like overloaded with learning a new thing.
Yeah, that's also very cool. Because it's also, I also find myself, actually, it's as simple as I've been walking for a few days, mostly because I'm doing a lot of creating school material, and then this morning I'm driving just to a park, not even more than 10 minutes. I drive later on other days, but the the overwhelmness of all the impulses coming in, and it's similar to me when I follow somebody's instructions. I have all that anxiety is less, that overdoing things, that overthinking things, or that busyness that comes with things that way with me. I don't know if that's also kind of you're feeling a little bit. Anywho, sorry, I'm going off here. Anybody else have any thoughts about the health kit? Any water people? Any meditation people? No. Well, if you have anything, just speak up and interrupt me. And then, even if it's on anything school related here. But what I want to briefly do, and the ones who came in late, I'm sorry, I've been behind with making the health groups. It's on my list to do those today. But I want to just briefly look at what are we, week 3? Is that right? I believe. Come on, don't get. Yeah, my internet has been spotty. So in case I lose you guys, it's my darn AT&T. So this is week 3. Right in here, we're going to talk about the cytology. That's the cells, and then we get into tissues, which that's sort of when we look at more cells working together, like nervous tissue as a tissue, or muscular tissue is a tissue, connective tissue is another one, and then the last one we have is epithelium. And so we talk a little bit about that, and and we have questions around that. So that's sort of the system. You watch the videos with the booklets if you have them, and then you do the questions, and then we have a little more understanding concepts this week. This one is on mitosis, cell division, and then protein building, making proteins. So that's 2 questions on that I want you to really kind of understand deeper. So that's why there's a discussion around it. And then we also have a brief discussion, a sort of a sharing. How was the food label analysis for you? How was that food label analysis? Anybody? Anybody learn something?
Yeah, I learned that I eat a lot of food that has extremely high carbohydrates and extremely high sodium content.
Yeah, that's one of those hidden things, the sodium and the carbs, isn't it? Anybody else? Well, there is a little discussion about it. So do a little reflection on it, or talk about with each other about your reflection. You've done the reflection briefly. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just sort of a couple of thoughts, sort of to solidify the information that we try to convey through that through that assignment. And then the other thing we do this week, as we do the cell, well, in lab, we gotta, if everything works out, we're gonna do cheek swab. We do some microscope things. So we're looking at a little small stuff there. And then, so we're looking at cellular stuff this week. So we're doing this week's lab is sort of together with this week's material, which is a little incongruent. Normally we do the lab after the week we have the material, but this is fairly a microscope, so there's multiple elements of doing. And then next week is the exam. So that's the other thing, because when we do a test, we just come for the test. We don't do a lab. We just come for the test, do the test, go back home. That way you're focused. As it comes to the test, I want to make sure the ones in lab probably heard already, I let you make yourself handwritten a cheat sheet, which is an index card of a 5x7, the larger ones, an index card front and back. So as you get ready for these materials and this test, what I want you to do is, I should do that too here. I want you to go into the test review. And I'm sorry, I should put the student view on here. Hold on, let me put the student view on here. Otherwise you see everything else that you don't need to see. Gets confusing. But I want you to go into the test review, if you haven't done it already, and look at these bullet points. And these are all the points you need to understand for all the chapters. And if you understand it, they're spelled out here. It's not just this, it's not just the title, it's the whole thing spelled out. And if you understand all of these things, you should be prepared for the test, because it's a multiple choice test. So you don't have to write, you just have to recognize and then choose the right choice. Oh, and we need to make sure you bring a Scantron. Are you guys familiar with Scantron still? Anybody? Or nobody? It's like somebody.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Some of these post-pandemic things. You know?
What model Scantron?
We do. I think it's the 882E, I believe. The long one, the regular one.
882E.
Yeah. I'll put it in. But so when you prepare for this exam, or as you go through the material and work your way through it, you make sure you look at these bullets and make sure you understand those parts. And that way, it's finite of what you need to know, and it's not everything. And the stuff that is hard for you to remember, you can put on that flashcard and have a little cheat sheet. And the other thing is, if you don't understand a bullet point in here, make sure you ask somebody, you look it up, to figure out so you understand it, because that's sort of where the hang up then will be on a test, for example. So don't just read through those and sort of leave a gap in your learning. Try to make sure you understand those. And we can talk more in lab too about these new tools. Like there is a tool, for example, a tutoring tool by the Khan Academy. Do anybody of you know the Khan Academy? Probably, right? Hello.
I've heard of it.
You heard of it? A lot of people in high school use it. So it's a YouTube channel thing. It started, and now it's a whole app. And now what they did is, the Khan guy, he started in the 2000s. He's created this thing called Khanmigo, Kha Amigo, like Amigo. Conmigo. And we can look it up in lab and work with it a little, because in there he has a tutoring module. So you can ask AI a question, like one of these bullets you don't understand, and say, like, can you help me understand that? And it doesn't just give you the answer, it helps you understand it by guiding you to the answer. And so it explains it to you. And so it's one of those things that we're going to probably use more and more. As a matter of fact, I've heard that Canvas is thinking of incorporating it next year into their whole Canvas shell, right inside the shell. So those are things that, more and more we can talk about too. Of course, the YouTube channel is always great too. You can just ask a question to the YouTube channel and get a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of it is good stuff. But as it comes to the preparing for your test, that is next week, I want you to go to the test review and make sure you work with that. There's a downloadable PDF here. You can just download it and print it out, put it on the tablet, whatever you work with, however, whatever works for you. Okay, so that's pretty much that part. I want to make sure, I'm always nervous that you guys all know about this test stuff and looking at this review, because otherwise you make your life harder than it has to be. Okay, and so the rest, as you look for this, here we go, the week 3, I think that's it. The only other thing, no, that's not it. I have an activity that we're going to do, a lab sort of at home. Today's lab in the classroom is fairly short. No, it's good. It's a good hour. We're going to have a good time. We're going to look at microscopes. It's usually a lot of fun, actually. The small stuff. It's sometimes hard to know what you're looking at, but it's usually looking like it's a lot of fun, and we can figure it out together. But this activity here, the cell model, I want you to do at home, and I want you to do a physical activity like kindergarten style, where you look around in your household and you look for food items, or you look for batteries or whatever have you, and you create a cell with your stuff. And you look for things that look like the parts of the cell or function like the parts of the cell. And you have all these parts of the cell here that you're learning this week, the cell membrane, the cytosol, the nucleus, et cetera, that I want you to represent in your model that you create. It doesn't have to be food. This is just an example of food. And then I want you to label what is representing what. And again, your imagination, there's no right or wrong here, but it helps us think about it in different ways and different dimensions, and then it helps us remember things better. Because what I want you to do as well then is I want you to make a legend. And I want you to make a legend of all these different things, these parts, the cell membrane, etc. And in your own words, I want you to write their function. What do they do in the cell? And this is a place where you have the lecture you could take info from, but you can also go online and look it up, or go AI, ChatGPT the thing. But then use your own words to describe it. And don't just copy paste. Well, you don't have to handwrite it, but I think it'd be good, because we have studied now that handwritten will make the brain process it differently than if we type. So I have learned with myself, if I handwrite things I need to learn, that's great for that. If I need to produce language, typing is actually great because it slows me down. So there's multiple uses, but we have studied the handwriting thing. So that's one reason why I'm stressing that more and more as well. So is that, and then, you do that and take a picture, and then you upload it onto, this is just an assignment. You upload it onto the assignment. And then we talk about it in the discussion next week on that. Is that fairly sensible, or you got any questions to that assignment?
Just to clarify, we're making a model, taking a picture of it, and then submitting it within that module.
Yeah, right. See here, you say cell make. Let's see if I can actually just submit it. Should work. See here, start assignment, and then you can upload a file. You can make a video. You could do all this kind of stuff. You see, most people end up taking a picture, uploading the picture, and then writing the text. So that's what I would do. Is I would do the text entry, right in here, and then I will go and upload the picture from here, or I would do it probably on the phone if it's an assignment with the picture upload, if it's easier. You know, if you have the app, you can just take a picture and it's in your regular picture feed, and you add it to the assignment. So it's one of those. I don't know if it's a chain link or if it's a paperclip, I think. That makes sense?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Well, if not, I guess we are already good to go, and we can close it out and go our merry way and see each other tonight, or or Wednesday, huh? And if you have any questions, just shoot me a text. I should be more available again. Today's a lot of grading, but I'm making these groups as well. But please be in touch. All right.
I just had one. Sorry, I just had one question about the Scantron. So
yes.
It's not for this week's lab, but the test is next week.
The test is next week.
Okay, and where do we? Sorry about this, but where do we get a Scantron?
Yeah, I gotta figure that out. The bookstore for sure has Scantrons, but I don't know when the bookstore is open. So
like Amazon has them. I just checked right now for like $5 for a pack of 25.
All right, I'm just going. Yeah. Well, if a couple of us,
$10. It's like $10 for a pack of 25.
All right, if someone, yeah. So some of us just need to get some, so we have to. I used to have them in school, but I don't have no idea. I wouldn't count on the school. Yeah, which is I'm certainly going to get a set, but just don't rely on that because we have a lot of students. Well, together we'll figure it out, but just do your best to get one, okay? And yeah, but don't stress too heavy on it if you can. Don't freak out. That's not needed.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. I know these new things again, being in the classroom like that, Anybody else?
College of Alameda bookstore had some Scantrons last time I was there, and they had plenty. So I don't know if you're maybe in the area during the day, but they also have it.
Okay, good. Yeah, if somebody is. Yeah, if you get an easy handle on it, just pick up a few so we have plenty for everybody and we'll work it out fine. So that's got to do it that way. Maybe they'll get it for next year again. All right. Anybody else a question before we close it out? No? Wow, there we go. With that, I wish you a great day. And be well. Go outside a little bit if it doesn't rain, if you can. And I'll see some of you tonight and the rest on Wednesday. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.